Morning, Scarabost. Okay, let's go. Alright, welcome all. I did find a snake, yes indeed. G'day Vipatron. So here's where we ended up with the project. This is what it looks like. So there is a spot for the snake. If you have a look, this is what the base ended up looking like down here. Pretty cool. I've added some PVA to it, so a bit more durable, which is why it's shiny. Yeah, and I'll show you the picture of the snake that we went with. So this is the snake. It's obviously facing the wrong direction, but you'll see. Did you ever know that you're my hero? You're everything I would like to be. Is it easy? It is, but I'll caveat that with a once you know what you're doing. G'day Neshland. So yeah, so that snake's going to go up underneath the dude on the left. Yeah, so on the ground underneath him, and I've hopefully scaled it to the right size so that it's going to sit underneath. Okay. So, but I don't have the snake here yet. So, what I thought we might start today off, I've done this before, is we're gonna do a bit of Googling, because, thanks Joe, yeah, because I'm struggling a bit with like a colour palette at the moment. I feel like desert is the go, but so let's try desert, Phoenix, fantasy, art, and just see what comes up. We'll see if we get any interesting things. So I'm not sure I want to do like strong OSL. I could. Right, but I just don't know that that's what I want to do. So happy for any thoughts. Oh, look at that, Phoenix versus Snake. That's what we're doing. How good. Heck yeah. Yeah, see that sort of palette with lots of like dark reds, some purples, that might be really interesting. You know, it doesn't need to be like desert sands type of thing. We can go these dark. Yeah, I find that really interesting. It's this one. Okay. So we could go something out there and not do like this colour phoenix, not do a fiery phoenix, but do something else. Yeah, you know what? I actually really like that one I was just looking at before, wherever it was. Just some weird colours. Where the fuck is it? That. Alright, so I think that might be my guiding light. No pun intended. Yeah, and this is the challenging question, right? So I don't think I want the Phoenix to be radiating light. I've done a lot of OSL projects and stuff, and I probably feel like it's time to try and do something different. So, but I definitely think it should be red. Oranges and reds. Okay. So I'm not going to do the Phoenix first. I'm going to do the Phoenix second, I think. We might start with this guy today. Yeah. Okay. Fun. Looking forward to the weekend. Okay, let's go. Alright, so I've been thinking about my skin tones recently, and I think I want to try and make them a little bit richer, a little bit more saturated. So we're going to try and start with maybe we might even start with this brown, royal brown. Do I like that one? No. Oxide brown medium. Let's try that. Oh, I think we need to mix up some new patented Big 10 mixer. Can we pretend that airplanes in the night sky are like shooting stars? I could really use a wish right now, wish right now, wish right now. Pretend that airplanes in the night sky are like shooting stars. I could really use a wish right now, a wish right now. Never seen a fairy tale, somewhere too far for us to find. I can taste and smell that she's left behind. It's all about the exposure, the lens I told her. News wrong, now she's ripping wings off the butterflies. Alright. So yeah, I want to try and go for a really warm skin tone. Rich. I think probably one of my main habits is I take skin tones too light. Whoops. Good one. So we're going to start with this brown, and we're going to work up through some warm reds. The only colour I think I'm thinking about with the snake is green at the moment, and like a weird eerie green light from maybe sort of underneath or behind that guy. But let's just see how the figures take us once we progress a little bit more. What colours? Alright, let's add some. What is this colour? Diarylide yellow. Might put some of that on the palette. It's a very warm colour. I'm also using this as an opportunity to experiment with the Chimera new colours, which so far haven't tickled my fancy all that much. Okay, let's go. Might be time to crack out a new brush. What's this one? Size 1. Yep. New brush. Beautiful. Okay. It's been a good week, friends. I finished The Expanse. Tremendous show. Alright, we've got to think about the position of the viewer. Right, so this is the angle that we're looking at this guy most of the time. So we need to make sure we're considering the viewer. Tabulous. Yep, as I just said, mate, you may have missed that. Finish The Expanse. I think I might go read the books. Yeah, I rated a 9.5 out of 10, mate. It's one of the best television shows I've watched in the last, I don't know, forever. Fantastic show. I sort of both agree and disagree with your assessment of season 4 dropping the ball a bit. I found season 4 really really interesting because it started to dive into the thing that put everyone in this position in the first place. And I was really intrigued by that. So the villain was also pretty compelling in that season. But on the whole, like, the thing that I liked about the show the most was that it managed to tell a story of intergalactic conflict that was focused on, you know, the impact that it had on characters. For me, that was a really impressive feat. And also, yeah, mate, it just really grounded the show. It was always about the impacts on individuals. I was also disappointed with the lack of a resolution. Yep. But it was a good show, geez. And the Rossi's become probably one of my favourite spaceships that exists in the world. You don't chase that feeling. Oh, good question. Blue tack, mate. Just blue tack that fucker to something. Yep. Yeah, really hard sci-fi elements, which I liked. Just the way that they told stories about it being in space or on Mars or on the moon, you know, it was just subtle things like the way that the water or drinks poured out of a glass was slowed down, you know, just little elements like that. You know, they didn't make a big deal about it. It was just this is a thing. You know, trusting that the viewer's going to have a basic understanding of science. Oh yeah, what's the delay? Great stuff. No. 9.5, mate. 9.5 it scored. And I won't accept anyone else's gratitude for me watching that show because it was always on my list. I was always like, yep, I'm going to watch that. And I'm glad that I watched it when the show was finished because I would not have coped well having to wait for that. It would have been more frustrating than Game of Thrones. Haha, Tui. No, mate, this is a new piece that I'm starting literally today. This is the piece. A little jewel. That I'm just feeling out some colours and trying to understand how we're going to take it, where we're going to take it to. Thanks, mate. Yes. This is one of the best types of commissions. Someone says to me, I want these figures painted, and I say, cool. And that's the extent of the conversation. So So I get to decide exactly what I'm doing, exactly the colours I'm painting. As many of you know, that's the only types of commissions I take on. So. So yeah, the skin tone is something I want to really be pushing myself a bit on overall. I think I have a default skin tone. Oh mate, feel for you, buddy. That sucks. Wow. It's just one of those things, you know, we're just dealing with COVID, you know. It's just, people are going to get it, it's just fucked. It's tough. I'm not too worried myself personally if I get it. I'm obviously going to hate it, but you know, I think most of the statistics say I'm probably going to be okay. But I'm worried for if my mum or dad get it, you know. Rough. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I too am very grateful for that fact. I was very excited about painting this figure, friends, I'm not going to lie. So I'll tell you a little story. So David, my good friend David Colwell and I, we talked about doing a joint project, and this was the piece that we selected for our joint project, and we were both pretty pumped about it. And then I was like, cool, what I'll do is I'll get it assembled, and we'll buy a plinth from, you know, my mate Jim, who does plinths, and we'll get him to cut it in half so the plinths join together. It's going to be awesome. So the models arrive. I talked to my mate Jim about getting some plinths done. He's like, no problems, Dano, let's make it happen. Great, says I. Message Dave, hey Dave, when are we going to start our project? Back in 4 months down the track. Yeah, still haven't got any time, mate, can't help you. Come on Dave, come on mate. Let's do this project. Yeah, I haven't got time. It's been sitting there for 4 years. And so I was just like, no, I'm going to do this project now, I'm not going to wait for Dave. And then he gets on the chat the other night, boy, what are you doing? I thought this was our project. It's like, fuck's sake, Dave. Yeah. Well, that guy is busy though. Like with commissions and box arts and stuff. Like, that's what happens when you're a famous painter like David. G'day, Wampa. 13 months, mate. Crazy. you know, I'm not a famous celebrity painter like him, so I get to paint whatever I want. What do you mean almost a year, mate? It is a year. It's a year and a month. Ah, well, excuse me. I'm not very intelligent. Dave certainly does paint slow, but I actually don't think he paints as slow as people think he paints. I think Dave, I've watched him, he actually crunches things out pretty quickly. The problem is he doesn't get to paint quite as much as he would like, I don't think. But I was chatting to him about his models and stuff at Crimson Brush, and he's got 2.5 years of commissions ahead of him. Imagine being so good that you get 2.5 years of commissions. The idea of that dead set petrifies me, hey? Just no thank you. And I actually said to him, like, surely that must be pretty, like, depressing, knowing that you've got an overwhelming amount of work ahead of you. It is his day job. In a way, like he's actually not got a job. He lives with his brother. He's got some health troubles, so he's been very fortunate that he can actually continue to contribute with his painting. The idea of having that many years of commissions. Yes, mate. Yes, it's look. I'll tell you right now. If we lose this game, we're in for a long season. The Bulldogs were unimpressive in the trials, and they were last year's wooden spooners. Having said that, we were 15th, so a few short years ago, 2015, we won the premiership, and now we're cellar dwellers. So we've got a good team. We've got a full year under Todd Payton, the new coach. There's a lot of exciting young players in the team. Hamasai Tabuai Fido, incredible player. Don't want to speak on his behalf. It hasn't been something he's sort of talked about a lot, but he's been having a really rough time with his health. So I mean, it's a week by week prospect. It was whether he was going to make it down to Crimson Brush. So in the end, he was able to make it, which was great. But yeah, he's a high risk. So Wampa, I think we're a decent chance. But don't know. It's been a round of upsets so far, mate. Some of the upsets have been just absolutely outrageous. Like, the Roosters got beaten by the Knights. The Rabbitohs got beaten by the Broncos. yesterday the fucking Storm nearly lost to the Tigers, which was a crazy result. Yeah. He's going right there, mate. You know, like he loves his painting and he's got a really great support network around him. So, including this guy. Didn't do a great clean-up job on this fella. Alright, time to move into some richer skin. So I'm adding this weird yellow colour, which is called, I don't know, it's called diarylide yellow, into my skin tone mixes, just so we've got a really warm skin tone that we're working with to reinforce the desert atmosphere. Thanks, Tui. Yeah, I'm just trying to do something a little bit different with my skin on this piece. Yeah, I'm just trying to be a little bit unusual compared to how I normally approach it. So Whiskey Jack, g'day mate, thank you. As you all know, my approach after this stage is the old airbrush and contrast paints. So that's going to help with smoothing out some of these big jumps in skin tone colour from that dark brown through to the skin tone. But yeah, just want to have some really interesting shapes in there before that happens. So I was thinking about the snake, and I was on the fence. I was like, is the snake adding to the scene? Is it worth being in there? And I still haven't made my mind up. That's why I haven't primed the base yet, and why I decided to start with this side, because I think we need to see the snake in the hand before we go full tilt on dropping him in. But I'm not sure if he's actually going to be a positive addition to the overall piece. So remember again, this is the angle that this guy's being viewed at. This direct, like this sort of this and this is where we're mostly going to see him. So let's keep that in mind as you look at my decision making around highlights. Not sure what TV show I'm going to watch next. New season of Snowpiercer's out, but I don't think I'll start that until it's almost over, so that I don't get annoyed having to wait week by week. Yeah, I've never gotten into anime. It just doesn't interest me. I think I've watched maybe 2 or 3 animes. I went through a phase when I was younger. I was really into they did a lot of animes for computer games. Like I watched Street Fighter and Fatal Fury and all these sorts of animes, and that was awesome. But yeah, there's a lot of TV shows people recommend me. Watch this fucking anime and this fucking anime. And I'm just like, I don't know, I can't get into it. As well, I was hesitant to watch Arcane because I was like, I'm not going to enjoy this. Animation doesn't do it for me. And then Arcane's story and the quality of the animation was enough to elevate it over other animated shows I've watched. Have not seen Dark, no. Yeah, I enjoyed season 1 of Snowpiercer. I thought the TV show was significantly better than the movie. The movie was a big miss for me, but the show's been good. Particularly liked the end of season 1. Season 2 was not as good. What's Dark about? Okay. So Stranger Things season 2. No, it sounds good. I'll have a look at it. Need something new. I had that feeling of finishing a TV show and just feeling like your life is empty. I was waking up every day just like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, I'm gonna watch some more Expanse tonight. It's gonna be awesome. And now I've got no more Expanse. Alright, now we will move into some lighter colours in the skin tone. Oof. Season 5 is worth getting into just for the oh my god factor. It was unbelievable. Let's grab out some of my favourite skin colour, sunny skin tone, or do I want to use flat flesh? Let's try flat flesh. The handles are on now. Right. I definitely think it might be worth starting a second new brush as well. Oh, it's been interesting actually recently, ever since I watched a show, what show was it? Oh, it was Shadow and Bone. I watched Shadow and Bone on Netflix, right? And they kept saying all these names, and I was like, what the fuck name is that? Like, what the fuck does that even mean? And so I was like, fuck it, I'm going to turn on subtitles. And every new show I've watched, every show that I've watched in the last little while, I've been just like leaving subtitles on because I find it much easier to, pass some of the information. Sometimes they'll say XYZ thing, and you're like, well, I don't know what that means. But when you read it, it sometimes just makes it a bit easier to follow. Having said that, I like doing that with shows that are English speaking. I don't like subtitles on dubbed shows. I don't think I've been to the cinema since I started doing that. That's a good point. I hope that doesn't ruin my cinema experience. So I've been stitched up, friends. I've been stitched up by my friends Alex and Marco from Craft World. They've absolutely dogged me. I entered their competition with a small project that I'd spent a bit of time on. They're like, wow guys, this is a crazy entry. Thank you. And then, thanks Maverick. And then they fucking upload pictures of everyone's projects to vote on, and they give Deno a half of a fucking Instagram page where you can see about 6% of my project. It's like, come on guys. Can't a guy just win a Frozen Sonic Mini 4K by painting a diorama for 6 weeks? Come on now. Thanks Maverick. I might have already said that, but thank you. I actually was going to, if I was successful in winning the thing, which it doesn't look like I am going to be, I was actually going to tell them to give the Frozen thing to someone else. Because I already got one. I don't need to. Yeah, but man, it's a stitch up, right? They're out to get me. Racist against Australians. Oh, look, I think that the problem with doing a public voting is you introduce the possibility of people enlisting friends and family to vote, and that's fine. But yeah, I haven't done anything other than share the actual post, but if someone was so inclined, they could share it to friends and send emails and be like, vote for my thing so I can win this fucking thing. Which is fine. Like I shared it and my mum and my auntie were like, oh, it looks great, Trenny boy. I'm going to vote for yours. I was like, thanks, just vote for the one that you think is the best. Yeah, if you go into a competition and your goal is to win everything, you're either Kirill Kanave, Michael Pazarski, or someone of that ilk, or you've set yourself the wrong goals. Your goal should be exactly what you've just described. Have fun, learn more, improve myself. Yeah, I've done some of his back. Should look good when we airbrush bits. Alright. Maybe we will go back to this brush because it's got a better point. Absolutely, mate. Absolutely, it's a great prize. You gotta be able to push yourself on in entering competition. You know, if you're not pushing yourself, then you're probably not achieving everything you could out of it. So. So I think I'm going to try and be quite quite light with my airbrush pass. I don't think I'm going to try and like absolutely crank the airbrush on this and smooth it all out. I think we'll just try and tweak it a bit. Two questions there. The first question, I'll assist by doing this. It's a Sony Handycam AX33, something like that. And I've connected it to my computer with a Elgato Cam Link, and so it's a 4K camera. And I've got it on a tripod so that I can run my hand underneath this whole area, and there's no blockages, right? So my whole posture is exactly the same as it would be when I was painting without a camera, which is number one important thing. If you can't do that, it's not worth doing it. And yeah, it's really good. I like it a lot. The only thing that I find challenging with it is that I have to adjust. It works best when I do manual focus and manual white balance and manual exposure, because with the auto it really struggles on capturing this scale of thing. It's not used to dealing with this scale. It's good. It's a good camera. I've been experimenting with a 4K webcam that I bought as well, and it works fine. Yeah. And how do I stop paint? So this is a wet palette. So if you have a look here, we've got water, and then we've got a bit of baking paper. It's an absolutely invaluable tool for display painting. Less useful for other forms of painting, but you can get some benefit out of it. That's just how I paint these days, with a wet palette. I struggle not having a wet palette now. You're welcome. Yeah, so this wet palette is made by Redgrass Games, and I do fully recommend the actual palette itself. It's got a really good sponge. It's a neutral colour, allows you to see the paint you're working with a little bit better. They sent me a couple of different baking paper or palette paper things to try. Some regular sheets, which is what they've used in the past, and then they did a Kickstarter last year for some everlasting sheets. And the everlasting sheets are actually a really great concept, you know, because it's a disposable thing that I change pretty regularly. So the concept of an everlasting sheet's really great. However, I felt like it changed the properties of the paint a little bit too much, and the way that it sits on the palette didn't really work the same way, and I struggled with it a bit. If you go back and watch the video when I did it, which was actually my my anniversary stream, 6-month anniversary stream where I got it, yeah, I just found I found that the paint was sitting in a weird way. didn't like it. So yeah, I switched back to normal baking paper. As Top said, you can get several uses out of it if you are so inclined. Oh, awesome, mate. A button, little spoiler. You know, that model was actually one of the very first figures that I bought as well. A slightly different version, though. Ever so slightly. Alright. Where's my sunny skin tone at? The very first figures I bought were Empire Halberdiers. Little plastic box. Dude stand there like this. Turn my thing back. Yeah. Hello, yes. Oh, now you can see that cool thing in the background. And a bag of flock, I vividly remember. But then, interestingly, we then switched over to 40k, and we bought the 40k box at the time, which was Orcs vs Space Marines. I think it was Orcs vs Space Marines. It is, yeah, the big boy palette. And I converted the Space Marines into Chaos Marines, and I bought Abaddon as my first blister pack. I have seen the new Chimera Kickstarter, yes. And when I say I've seen it, I mean yes. It should be another diorama. I hope. Alright, so I just want to talk a little bit now about a thing I talk about all the time. This is more for Topulus's benefit than anyone else, even though I think he's playing D&D and trying to get killed by a mind flayer. There's a thing called saturation versus value. So I talk about saturation a lot, I talk about value a lot. One thing I probably don't talk enough about is how those two elements interact. So to give you a quick rundown of what I'm talking about, every colour that you see on a figure has several properties. The first property that we usually talk about is hue, which is just like what colour it is. So if you're talking about a red, it's a red hue, or a green hue. You know, skin tone, for example, is more of an orange hue, pinky orange hue. No, they haven't shown the models to the general public, my friend, but I'm a celebrity. I'm good friends with Ricardo and Francesco from Chimera. So the second property that you talk about when you talk about colour is value. Value is how bright a colour is. So I talk about a thing called the value scale. So if you were to change a paint job into grayscale, then you would see some areas are light and some areas are dark. So this model, for example, we've got some very light areas here, and then we've got dark areas here and underneath here, right? So the grayscale version of this, you would have these colours being very close to white and these colours being very close to black. So that's the value of a colour. It's important to note that that property is independent of the hue. Like you can have light red and you can have dark red. Both are the same. Both are the same hue. So the third property, and this is the one that is actually most important, in my opinion, to understand, is saturation. So I'm going to grab two paints right now, and I'm going to show you what I mean by saturation. I'll grab three paints. So right here we have three reds, okay? Now all three of these reds are slightly different in value. This red on the end is a very desaturated red. This is a slightly more saturated red, and this is a fully saturated red. So saturation is how much grey a colour has in it. So if we're talking about highlighting something, when you highlight, usually what you do is you're adding white into a colour, and that is increasing the value. However, adding white is also adding a grey to a colour, which is having the effect of desaturating the colour, making it less intense. And so that fact, like that little statement, is the most challenging thing about understanding saturation and value, because you need to have value contrast from light to dark on areas on your model, or it won't read as an interesting figure from a distance. But if you have too much white, too much light and dark, then exactly as Wampa says, you have a pastel version of a colour. These things are not necessarily bad. It's important to understand that it's not necessarily bad if something's pastel. You just need to understand what's happening when you're using it. Now, what's really interesting about this here is this colour that I'm using for that highlight on the skin there. That looks really, really bright, right? It's this colour. It's not a bright colour, right? But it looks bright because of the colours that are around it. This is the absolute fundamental truth of miniature painting. You don't have to go all the way up to pastel to create interesting value contrast. And in fact, as you progress as a painter, you will learn that you actually want to try and avoid going to a pastel as often as possible, because that's removing saturation and interest from your colours. So I'm giving this information to Topulus, but it's obviously relevant for everyone. When we're using a mid-tone, that's usually the most saturated version of a colour. So we are likely to get the most vibrant version of a colour by using the mid-tone. Ooh. Anytime you add light past the mid-tone, you are likely to be weakening the colour. As into the skin tone, is this the last step? Is that your question? No, rarely is anything I do finished. No. no, we're still, this is the first piece I've painted. I haven't done any painting this week. It's been a pretty stressful week. I'm actually going to use red, I think. I do paint quickly, and if I was, in a rush, I could absolutely have progressed further on this. But I'm not in a rush. Just want to have fun with this piece. I'm actually using my big airbrush for this, which I shouldn't be because it's not as accurate. But just being really lazy at the moment. I want to swap airbrushes. Thanks, Maverick. You're a legend. They're very thin, mate. Yeah, very thin. And it is a 75mm. Yeah. Here is an example of how thin they are. Cool. This one's a HPCS, which is a slightly bigger one. I'm just being lazy. I should grab my other one out, it's more accurate, but it's fine. Alright, now we'll go back in and tweak it with a brush. With a brush. With a brush, you say? Yes, a brush, indeed. actually going to use a smaller brush. So as you can see with the airbrush, what's happened is it's smoothed out a lot of my rough transitions, right? But it hasn't killed all of the little textures and micro details that I added. They're still there, and you can still see them. Here's a great example. We've got lots of little interesting tones. What it does do though is it does tend to kill your overall value contrast. So we're just going to re-add some value. So Chad Townsend's a player from the Sharks who we signed, and he's a very experienced player. He played in grand final winning side in 2019, I think it was, that they won. And the seven's the key organizer role. So your role is to tell everyone what to do and make sure the team's structured and make good decisions at the end of sets and so on. No, you're right, mate. Just here to talk. We're just here to paint soldiers and talk about whatever. So he was signed because we've been lacking a really good organising half, someone who can tell the team what to do. We used to have a player called Jonathan Thurston who retired in 2019, I think it was, and he was an organiser, but he was also really creative and could play off the cuff footy as well. Ever since he retired, well, it's not just defensive, it's attack. Sometimes you'll be like, you're trying to organise plays. So he'll be the one to call out a play. He'll go, cool, we're going to run this play. So I need you to stand over there, you to stand there, and tell people exactly what's going on. He'll structure a set where I'll be like, okay, I want to run 3 towards that particular player. So that then, that player's taken out of the defensive line so that our next attack, is going to be angled at this thing. And if you're struggling to make grounds or make ground, you make a decision about where to kick to, when to kick. Maybe you kick early. Yeah, he's the quarterback, but he's not the only quarterback, if that makes sense. You have 2 halves in the game. One's the dummy half. One's the halfback and one's the 5'8". So the dummy half, he's the guy who picks up the ball after a tackle's made and he feeds it to either of those players usually. And their role is to organise the team. So Chad's a good player. He's won premierships. He's experienced, and they've brought him into the side because we need someone with a bit of experience. Because we've got a relatively young side full of young players. So the young players will, bring enthusiasm and bring energy and do some cool stuff. They'll also make mistakes and they usually get flustered, and it's Chad's job to just settle them down, get them into the structures, do this, do that, that sort of thing. You are very welcome, mate. I played for many years. Certainly not at that level, but I've grown up with the game, so I'm pretty familiar with it. Gabriel Diaz. I very much wish to buy followers. If you would please just comment and say, Big Dano, you're my favourite Twitch streamer. I will go and click on that link and buy followers, primes and viewers. I will give you 10 seconds to comply, Gabriel. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Gabriel, you suck. I played, generally I played in the second row, which is a position that's, pretty interesting position. If you've got good ball skills, but you're also quite big, that's where you usually find yourself in the second row, because their job is to be a backup for the front row and make runs set up, but they're also usually ones that will have some offensive ball playing ability. They'll try and bring in other players. Go, Conrad. Oh, it's more fun when they do it, mate, and I can ask them to talk to me. But I also played on the wing, and I also played in the front row, and I also played in the centres. So I was quite a versatile player. Yes, I know, mate. I'm not a complete sped, alright? I'm aware of that fact. That's why it's funny. Alright, let's add some interesting colours into the shadows, maybe. Well, I suppose this red isn't that interesting, really. Yeah, I think the Cowboys are a really strong chance of winning. The side's better on paper. Probably fair to say they're better coached, and last year was a bit of an anomaly in terms of where they finished, but yeah, there's been some big upsets this round so far, some massive upsets, so this wouldn't be anywhere on the scale of that upset that we saw on Friday night or yesterday. Yesterday the Roosters were paying, I don't know, $1.25 and the knights just absolutely towel them up. Oh no, too much water, Dino. What are you doing? Hello. She lives in fairy tales, she's looking for us to find. The gets in taste and smell the world that she left behind. It's all about the exposure, the lens I told her. She's ripping wing off butterfly. Keep your feet on the ground. Home to Berry Castle. Do we do a tattoo on this guy? I reckon we probably should. So much great skin area to work with. Should be a phoenix tattoo. Pikachu. should be a phoenix tattoo because he's got a phoenix guy, a little friend. Keep it on screen, Deno. Come on, mate. Fair, mate. Fair point. I'll lift my game. Drummer, mate. Been going very well, thank you. Been working on a variety of interesting projects, and we just started a new one today. Being this guy. Every time I see the name Drummer now, though, all I can think is Kamina Drummer from The Expanse. He's a fantastic character that I very much like. Kamina Drummer. No, that all three of those were the layout on scale. Yeah. I'm zoomed in super close so you can see the brush strokes, right? But that gives you a slightly skewed perspective on what the figure looks like. Pascal! Welcome, buddy. Bill Robertson, thank you. Holes Transistor, welcome. So if you zoom out, you can see it has a slightly different appearance too. Yeah. But I do think this area here needs to be slightly more vibrant. What's happening, Pascal? You going right? What did you paint today? G'day, Davies Mini Art. Yeah. If you friends are new and haven't seen my work before, it's time. It's time. That was painted last year, friends. On stream. And then behind my head, you can see another one. Oh, good on you, Wampa. Thanks, mate. Yeah, I haven't got shout outs set up yet. I keep forgetting to do it. That's not true. I haven't forgotten to do it. I just don't prioritise it. If I have a choice between sitting down and trying to tweak my Twitch settings for a few hours or paint toy soldiers, I'm just going to go and paint. I'm just going to go and paint. But yeah, definitely follow Pascal. Awesome painter. Very nice man. So yeah, let's zoom in now, and you can again see, you know, the difference between what it looks like at this macro scale versus the the wider scale. So I think it's cool to see at this scale, you know, brush strokes are not a bad thing. Me too, mate. Yeah, Black Sun are some of my favourites. I've done so many Black Sun models. Like, there's very few figures in the range that I haven't actually painted. I don't think. Most, mind you, most of them were done quite a while back. I haven't painted many Black Sun recently. Let's just up this a tiny bit. There we go. Beautiful. Alright, let's do some little pop highlights. See how we feel about it. So this is Sunny Skin Tone mixed in with that yellow colour I was talking about before. I don't know what it's called. Cyanacrylide yellow or whatever. Yeah, show your work, Pascal, for sure. Good share. Alright, so one of the things I'm standing here looking at now and thinking, I need to go brighter, I need to go lighter. My skin tone still feels too dark. Resist that impulse. Because you don't know what it's going to look like until you see other colours around it. Alright? So I'm not gonna go any brighter than this until after I have blocked in some other colours. Bless me. So let's I feel like painting the axe. I do indeed, mate. Yeah, here's the actual project that it's going to be. Yeah, I actually don't have any good figures to show off sitting nearby of my other works. If you want me to, I can go grab some of my figures that I've got in the cabinet. They're not that far away. Some of the recent stuff I've done. yeah, the other model is actually my favourite of the two. But I really like this jewel. I think it's got a nice balance, composition. I may just do a little bit of tweaking with the airbrush on some of these tones. Breton Spiel, welcome. Thanks, mate. Or if I was to take a guess, I would probably say guten. I can't remember how to say evening. It's guten Morgen for me. It's morning for me. I can't remember how to say good evening. Alright, let's just zoom out. Okay, that's what we're looking at so far. Let's do some non-metallic metal. Alright, we're going to try some different colours today. Some different colours than what I normally use. I'm not going to go too wild, but because where's this fucking colour I want? No. Come on, you fucking piece of shit. You might do. Oh, of course it's already down here, isn't it? You fucking idiot. Don't want that one. Oops. I'm sure I was using it not that long ago. There you are. Haha. Alright. So what I want to achieve out of this metal is the following. I want it to look like metal. Duh. But I also want it to have a very red, very red value. Value is the wrong word, but very red like colours. Dark red though, I think. So let's go and find us alizarin crimson. That might be the go. Oh, perfect. Alright, so use this brush. Oh yes, that's a magnificent colour. Perfect. This is our base colour. remember this is the angle we're looking at it from, so. So this is a dark greeny grey, and I mixed it in with red. So that's giving it a very warm base colour for our non-metallic metal. Where else? This knee pad. Boop, 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 boop. This thing. Boop, 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 boop. This knee pad. Boop, 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 boop. So always think about this is a little, the direction of the viewer and how light will reflect for that viewer. So we, as a viewer, are going to be looking at this piece from this direction. So we want to see interesting light from that direction. I like to add lots of little areas of interest. This is just a sketch stage. We're just sketching in where we think the light's going to be. Alright. What's the time? 9 o'clock. Yeah, got another hour in me, I think. Yep. Having fun so far. Oh, good one, Pascal. Oh, beautiful, mate. Where's that figure from? Oh, is that Mindworks? Is that from Mindworks? Is that non-metallic metal? Fuck, that's awesome, Pascal. Good work, man. Yeah, particularly love the red reflections on the steel. That's some great stuff, mate. Everyone go check out Pascal. Let's have a look at Dave's mini art. Oh, nice, Dave. Yeah, yep. That one's a piece that Michael Pizarski did very early on when I was just starting miniature painting, and I remember just being, holy shit, like I can't believe that's actually painted. Yeah, blew me away. I'm going to go look at Pascal's non-metallic metal a bit closer later on. It's very good. Very good indeed. Alright, so as you can see, we're moving into some sort of browny green tones with this metal. I'm going to zoom in a bit so we can have a closer look at what's happening. This is all fine. Everything's fine. I'm fine here. How are you? Boring conversation anyway. Yep, me too. He needs to make more. Hasn't done a new one for a while. Mind you, I like Chimera's really stepped up recently in their figure design and stuff, and moved into that aesthetic, which I really like. Yeah. How'd you go, Top? Did you kill the mind flayer? Top might have me on mute. He's playing D&D. Oh, which Pegaso Kickstarter was that? Yep. Oh yeah, that's not Pegaso. That's Nico Galaxy. And I'm also waiting for that. Although I did paint 2 of the figures already. The Hyperborea one. Let me show you a little something what I did. Behind me. You can see it behind my head. I did that. Don't do that, champion. Keep practicing. We'll dig a deep hole to bury the castle, bury the castle under its shadow. We'll dig a deep hole to bury the castle, bury the castle. We pretend that airplanes in the night sky like shooting stars, like a really wish right now, wish right now. Boom, boom, boom. Cool. So this is just a bit of mucking around with the steel. As always, we'll do a little bit of airbrushing, add some contrast paints into the mix and see what comes out of it. We'll definitely switch to the smaller airbrush for that sort of work. It'll be a lot more precise. No, there's no necessity in anything really. I find contrast paints to be really useful because they're basically inks, right? I've always used a lot of inks in my painting because they help to add saturation and you know, colour, help smooth out bad transitions, that sort of stuff. So, but there's absolutely nothing essential about doing that. You know, there's a lot of painters who never use inks. You know, just use normal colours, get massive vibrancy through that. Yeah, so the reason I like contrast paints specifically through the airbrush, their dilution doesn't weaken the colour, so you still get really vibrant colours, even if you dilute them quite heavily. So I like that. It's just a a nice way of being able to add a lot of interest to an area without having to you can just go bzz, 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 and bang, you got really cool little colour nuances. And I'll show you when we do this, because we're going to add some orangey reds into this. Alright, again, so just make sure you're looking and thinking in this position. This is what we're mostly going to be viewing the piece at. Very easy to get lost in the little details. Thanks, mate. Appreciate that. Alright, I think the airbrush is going to help this. I'm using different colours that I'm not used to using for my metals, so this is a fun experiment. Alright, switch to the little airbrush. Yeah, see, this is why I didn't want to use a little airbrush. It's due a clean, friends. Fuck. Oh well. Alright, it's got to happen. Might as well be now. This container says H2O. It is not H2O. I tell you that for a concrete fact. Don't drink it. Oof. I know this is boring, but gotta be done. Gotta be done. If you haven't seen me cleaning the airbrush before, I'm pretty good at it these days. I do it pretty quickly. This is methylated spirits in here. And this little doobie is the best piece you can use for cleaning. Why would you get in your home? Great. So yeah, the two areas that you really need to get absolutely perfect is the needle and this little jobbo on the end. Look at all this dried shit in here. No wonder the fucking thing wasn't working. Good night, Pascal. See you, buddy. Thanks for the raid, mate. You're a champion. I think this is a 0.2 needle, mate, so it's pretty small. So you can actually get like cleaning implements that help you do this cleaning thing that I'm doing right now. But I've always just used the needle. Works fine. This thing, or oh, it was a 0.3. Yeah, small difference, but but I definitely notice a difference. Well, I don't use it a lot, like for blocking in colour areas or anything like that. I always use the bigger one for that. This one's one I just want to be really precise and do, you know, fine detail stuff. Wow, this was definitely due. Alright, that should hopefully be back to fighting fit. Ooh, feels smooth. Oof. Oof. You'll love to see it. Alright, what was I doing? Metals. Haha. Yeah. Alright, let's try some... Not often. I've got some over there. I think I've done it maybe twice ever. Alright. So the difference with this brush and the other one is I can get really, really close. And I can be really precise. So. Yes, mate, we sure do. We're about to... Alright, let's see, Rex. Maybe I haven't done quite as good a job as I thought. What do we got, Rexy? Hey! Yep. I I did that bust many months ago. I think I actually did a video on that, how to paint that bust, if I remember rightly. Alright, orange. And now this colour. And now just a little splash of greeny colour. And I guess it would be nice if I could touch your body. I know not everybody's got a body like you, so I gotta think twice before I put my heart away. I know not all the games you play, 'cause I play them too. Oh, but I need some time off that emotion. Try to pick my heart back on the floor. Ooh, baby, I reconsider my foolish notions. Cause you gotta have faith. I gotta have faith, baby. G'day, Bad Trip 84, mates. I'm excellent. Thank you for asking. Painting big! Thanks for the raid, mate. Welcome to the stream, everyone. If you're new, I paint little toy soldiers. Welcome, I am Turjon. This is a recent project I did, friends. When I say recent, I mean I did that in the last few months. It is huge, Bill. There's another project I did last year. G'day, X-Tab. Also big. People might suggest I'm compensating for something. Those people would be very, very correct. I do like a guy whose name is Big Painting. Painting big, because I'm also painting big. Big Deno. They are indeed for collectors, yes. Although I don't normally like paint them and be like, oh, this is for this particular person. Normally I just paint stuff, and then if there's people that like what I'm painting, they can send me a message and ask to buy it. Yeah. This particular one that I'm working on now is a little jewel, and this is actually for a commission for someone. So, It is hard to do an entire shot of them. I really struggle with the scale to do really good photos of the bigger pieces. You are absolutely correct, Dan and Dananak. That is exactly why I have gone back in and done some black lining in certain areas, and why I'm now adding white pops, little lights. Because yeah, the airbrush glaze it does lessen your contrast overall. If you imagine that you have a white, which is a 10, and a black, which is a 0. If you airbrush a 5, then what you're doing is you're subtracting from the light, bringing it closer to 5, and adding to the dark and making it closer to 5. So what you're actually doing when you do an airbrush glaze, like what I do, is reducing the overall contrast. So you need to go back in and tweak that a little bit, just to make sure there is enough contrast right. I haven't spoken to Alex yet for the new Kickstarter, but maybe I'll get one. Hope so. Last one was fun. Yeah, I got the whole range, Rex. My plan, as always, is to do a big project with them. I've planned that one out already in my head. It's going to be, I don't know if you've ever saw the Hunger Games. There was the second Hunger Games had this big clock as the place where they fought. So I want to have like a rotating clock with the various elements. So all the fire elements together, all the water elements together, and vice versa. So, yeah, be fun to see how I can push those. That's the plan anyway. I may get the models and change my mind on what I want to do. I like to describe this process that I use with the airbrush and then back with the brush. It's very iterative, right? Like I don't just go, okay, cool, I'm now done with an area, because I like to go back in and refine and tweak, and then continue to change colours, and we may decide that this doesn't work, so we'll add some darker blues, and just keep tweaking and changing the whole time. This plan has not really worked as well as I would have hoped. Before this river becomes an ocean. Zoom, baby. Yeah, I definitely think we need to do do some war paint. Okay, let's go. Starting to get there now, friends. It's been a quiet second half of the stream, mostly because I've been focused on doing little details. Cool. Alright, there's his face. We'll probably continue to tweak and refine areas as we go. Definitely want to do a little bit more airbrushing on the skin just to smooth everything together. Rathmore, thanks mate. He has a big day, mate. Yeah, he's had a big day. He's tired. Tired as. Raw. Alright, so this is the base. Let's put him on the base. He might not go fully in the base actually. Okay, fine. Alright, so this is him standing here. He's leaping off like this. Rah! For victory! He's actually tilted a bit more forward, but then we've got the Phoenix up the top alongside the tree, jumping down with him. And then we've got Shield Guy, who's trying to alternately block jumping axe guy and Phoenix shooting fire guy here with this shield. And then we're gonna have a little snake down here. So that's pretty cool. I like it so far. I just am looking at this is the angle that you're most likely gonna look at. Front on one, so I just want to make sure that's looking good. Yeah, I'm not happy with that chest area yet. I want to tweak the chest a bit. It looks better from that angle like that. Yeah, okay. Fun. Friends, I am actually trundling off now. We're gonna spend nearly 3 hours of little twist soldier painting. It's gone by in a flash. Just did this, not bad. Pretty happy with that. Yeah. I'm now heading to watch the NRL this afternoon. Not actually at the game, just going to hang out with my missus and watch it there, which will be fun. Thanks, Dan and Anna. See? I don't know. Dan Danak or Dan and Anna C. Not sure. Whichever one it is, mate. Thank you. Let's go see who we can have a raid on. Roger that. That's it. I will have fun with the sports indeed, yes. I always like a Sunday raid because not that one, because I never know who's on. It's always different people, just American painters and stuff. So let's see. Jack of Clubs is painting the Hulkbuster. That's a battle report. Painting Pirate. Let's have a look at what the Painting Pirate's painting.
When I was that age.
Painting Pirate, 720p.
And I use the term loosely at times. Yeah, see, I never got that college experience.
You're out, mate. 720p is a disgrace. What's happening here? I'm making a miniature scale version of my stream room.
I don't want to use Windows Shift S. I don't like it. I don't like it. So these are...
I pass. Rottweiler. Good start.
I believe he is on
1080p. And he's doing something for the Ukraine. I'm in. Rottweiler. Good work, mate. I'm in. Let's go raid the Rottweiler. Never seen this guy before. How cool. Yeah, friends, so I'm back for tomorrow night. Party Monday at my time. Should be good. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to continue my project. And that is all. Have a great afternoon, evening, or morning, wherever you are. You're all wonderful people. Have a great day. Big dinner. Out. Right.
Oh, thanks for the big red. Appreciate it. Thank you for the charity donation. That's awesome. Skelly. Check that.